Well, the greatest train that ever run down America's railroad track was the orange blossom special, bringing my baby back. From New York to Miami, you could see them drivers roll, but the orange blossom special don't stop Waldo anymore.
Hey there, Flosstube. It's Lydia, the TallyStitcher, back with Flosstube number 6, I believe. Tonight is Sunday, March 7th, I think. My husband is in the background giving me a nod of approval that it is indeed the 7th. So we did film a little bit later this weekend because we knew we were going to go to our favorite local needlework shop today, and we wanted to be able to show you some haul. And I say we because I've got some of the stuff that he's been working on to show y'all. We got lots to show. I'm also extra excited because this is like the start of my birthday week. My birthday is next Saturday, so we will talk about birthday starts later on. So some housekeeping. I don't even know if it's housekeeping, honestly. Welcome to my channel. It's mostly a cross-stitch channel. However, we do have cameos with other crafty type things that pop up. And I have a list to keep myself on track, and I'm already all over the place, but that's fine. So welcome back if you are already subscribed. Welcome if it's your first time. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm a pretty new cross-stitcher in terms of I just kind of started really getting into it at the end of last year. I've been on and off, very, very much more off than on since 2016. My husband's the one who got me into cross-stitch. He's been doing it since he was a kid. And so yeah, we're a big stitchy family around here. There are several things that will distract me during this video, some of which are my 2 cats. Another thing might be my husband. Currently, one of my cats is trying to come over here right now. I knew it was going to happen as soon as I started talking. She likes to come sit by me when I'm talking. But we got lots to show y'all today. So I'm excited. Okay, so I have a start. It was a start that I meant to start that I didn't know that I needed to start. I started it last Saturday with some very, very random floss from the stash. It's turns out to be JP Coates floss that I had and from a big craft material haul that I got before I came to undergrad. So I pulled that stuff out to look at it to see what I had to start a project that I had been planning on. It's a secret start. So you guys are only going to see a little bit today, and then you won't see it hardly ever again until it's done. But I pulled that floss out, and it was a bunch of JP Coates, which is a cotton embroidery thread. And I was like, cool. So I identified the colors that I wanted to use in that, and then kind of looked at which ones I would need to complete the pattern. But here's the start. It's super, super tiny. And there we are. So, we're always playing this game of which side to be on. Who knows what it's gonna be? This is a piece of, this is like 16 count Ada, just white, that I got from a thrift store also last weekend. $2 for a whole roll. I was like, sweet, this totally works out. So this is all like thrifted, random stash kind of stuff. Some of it's vintage, I guess. The JP Coates that I got the impression of was a lot of the stuff you could get was just vintage. So I did run to Etsy to get corresponding floss to kind of help complete that project. But this is about all y'all will probably see. Maybe one more show before it goes away. I'm using my Hummingbird needle minder because the Mirabilia that I have planned to use with this Hummingbird needle minder, which is Scent of Old Roses, the fabric is still somewhere out there. It's not like it's lost in shipping. It's hasn't even been produced yet. I know supplies all over the place have been ridiculous, so that's okay. I got plenty of other stuff that I can start and finish. So that was my only start. this week, which is fine because we're about to have a whole bunch next weekend. So now we're going to move on to whips, works in progress. I have kind of three main ones I'm working on right now. The first one is my first cross-stitch design, which is the Ka Design, which is the Ringling Museum's kind of main building in Sarasota, Florida, not Saratoga. That's a different state entirely. So this is a historic house built by John and Mabel Ringling, kind of back in the 1920s, excuse me, with his circus money. He was super wealthy. And lots of really rich people bought houses and built houses along the coast of Florida as it was developing in the early 1900s, because you have two different railroad magnates are building railroads as fast as they can down the coast of Florida. That's the only way to really get into Florida. The roads, they barely exist. So either you go on by boat or steamship down the rivers, or you're coming by railroad. So we've got Henry Plant has his stuff going, and we have Henry Flagler who's got his stuff going. So you'll see a lot of hotels and houses that are built by these gentlemen for really rich folk. And a lot of those are now colleges, universities, private institutions, museums. Some have turned back into hotels, but they're all over the place. If they weren't just outright burnt, destroyed, demolished, whatever. So that's the design. Here's where I'm at. I just took it out of its hoop for y'all. Yay, hoopy. Obviously I did not iron this, and you can really tell. But what I added in were the last kind of bits to put into this one are the little window panes, because they are going to be kind of a pain if you don't like cross-country stitching, because that's what you got to do, because they're all mixy-matchy all over the place. The pattern has them charted kind of thoughtfully, but it doesn't really matter. The panes go in there as they go in there. So I've been working on getting that whole section done so I can move the hoop a little bit to get the other side of the tower going. And this is actually a little bit more than half of the building done. The tower is not centered in the building, but I'm really liking how this is turning out. The color corrections I feel totally fine with now that I've been able to do those. You can look back at previous Flosstubes kind of at the development of this. This is a free pattern available to anyone. I dropped the link in the description below. This will probably be the last video that I show, or that I drop that link down here until I finish it. Because you'll get the building done, and then you can choose to put the Ka Design sign up here in blue, and I probably will do that. I charted it. Why not? So yay, that's that one. The other ongoing piece is my Modern Folk Embroidery stitch along for 2021, which I believe is called Fruits of Plenty. I finally finished the February section. This is not a mystery, Sal. Jacob, the designer, he shows you the whole piece beforehand, but he still releases it 1 month at a time. And I got January's done in like, what, two weeks worth of stitching. Like, we got the pattern on the 6th of January, and then I had it done, you know, with plenty of time at the end of the month to work on other things before feeling the pressure of part 2 coming out. Part 2 came out, I feel like I started stitching it on February 2nd or 3rd, not too late afterwards, and it was taking forever to finish. Like, and not that it was not fun to stitch on, but it was just a floss eater. And I noticed some of the other folks that I follow on the stitch along hashtag also were like just finishing this week, so it might have been a more dense amount of stitches on average than the other pages, because I also noticed that a lot of people who were already done already got March done in the first week, like their first day for some folks. So they just either have it together, or I don't know, it all worked out for them. But I finally finished the February section. I'll probably start on March's maybe tomorrow or Tuesday. Tomorrow is my last clay class. So I'll have my Monday nights back for more stitching, which will be fun, or whatever other project I need to work on. I also had told myself I should keep working on writing my murder mystery that I started in November, that I didn't finish in November. But as you'll see from my needle minder for this one, I am the queen of unfinished projects. Let me see, actually, she's turned upside down. Queen of unfinished projects. Anyway, so here is the completed February section. I still love this pattern. I love this design. I love my color choices. The fabric is chocolate raspberry, 16 count. The floss is DMC 3771 and 3776. And yeah, I haven't had to flub too much, which is nice. I think I had a tiny bit of flubbage in there, but you know, why not? I did actually give this boy a slightly fancier head feather because I felt like it. I went through and I was like, is there nothing supposed to go there? And we didn't see any initials or anything that went in there. And I was like, I'm going to make his feather a little fancier. Because for most birds, one version of the bird is a little bit fancier. Usually the male, but you know, so I felt like doing that. So quite pleased to have it done. And I know I'll be happy to get back to stitching on it once I get over like the trauma of February. Because February just flew by. March is also flying by because it's almost already, you know, the 8th, which apparently was really significant for my mother-in-law. She was like, oh my God, it's already the 8th. But that's fine. And then the other work in progress that I have, I'm actually doing for Stitch Asia, which is a hashtag that's going around to kind of recognize Asian artists and Asian art. This is actually an older whip of mine that I showed in my first Flosstube, which was a whip parade, and stitched on it more than I had since last year. And it is the official, the official thing is Purity, Strength, and Truth, and this is a dimensions kit. It's got Buddha sitting very, you know, solemnly like a Buddha statue. My husband got this for me for Christmas a couple years back, and I had only really barely touched it when I had it, because it's the middle part especially is really difficult for me to see sometimes because it's beige on beige on beige with a little bit of tan on beige. But I have started putting more color into it to give myself incentive to work on it, and this is where I got ta-da! So I pulled this back off for Stitch Asia. I really wanted to get over to this green section to start working on this big green column, which meant I needed to work my way over from the portion of the statue that I have done here across these little flower bits and into this working here. I'd also have had this little bit of the pedestal in, which has some blended threads in it. I actually had to frog this whole section the day after I did it because I had crossed my legs the opposite way I'd done for everything else. And I was looking at it and I'm like, not sure if I liked it. I thought it looked too bulky. And then my husband looked at it and he was like, you did the stitches in the wrong direction. That's why it looks so weird. And I'm like, oh, you're right. So I frogged it and actually adjusted it slightly. This calls for like 3 strands of whatever this maroon kind of color is, and 1 strand of a very dark brown, and I still thought that was super bulky, so I took out 1, so I think it's 3 maroon, 1 dark brown in there. So working on that for Stitch Asia. I like the kind of muted colors. This is, what does it say? This is 14 count beige Ada. You can see that it went from 1 smaller hoop to a bigger hoop because we like hoops around here and not ironing. That's kind of what that is. Okay, so that's it for the whips that I'm working on right now, because the other ones that I have are either secret or they are not yet started because they're not whips yet, I guess. Are they considered a whip if you've got all the stuff kitted up? Not really. You got to put a needle into the thread, huh? So yeah, which means we're moving on to, I'm looking at my list right now. let's look at gifts actually. So we got some Stitchy mail. It was our first little bit of happy Stitchy mail, and it was super awesome, and we were so excited to get some. Of course, now that I've fluffed everything, I don't know where I put it. I don't know where it is. What am I doing? My husband's looking at me like, where is it? Where's your stuff? It's behind me. He's pointing it behind me. Where did I put it? He's right. Look at that. Okay. We're teamwork, y'all. Teamwork makes the dream work. So we got some amazing Stitchy mail from Ginger Gerald Stitcher, who was one of our first, forays into Flosstube. We found him. I think my husband, he found him. He likes to find other male stitchers to watch because you guys are far and few and in between. So we try to support them when we find them. So Ginger Gerald gave me a shout out in one of his Flosstubes more recently, which is awesome. Many of y'all came over from his channel. Thank you again for stopping by. We have fun around here doing historic architecture and losing track of what we're talking about. But he sent us some Stitchy kindness, and he currently is doing like a 40-day challenge of recording almost every day, reminding people about being kind, passing on kindness, and it's a hashtag of Crafters Exude Kindness 2021. I will have the absolute correct hashtag in the description box below. But he sent us some goodies, and it's really awesome. First, he sent us a beautiful postcard. Him and my husband are hugely into historic maps. They've actually stitched the same pattern before. If you go back, I think Flosstube number 5, I show off the old world map that my husband's done and that Gerald has done in the past. And my husband, he studied classical archaeology, so he's super just into all sorts of history. And he's wickedly good at geography, which I am not. So we got this beautiful postcard, which has some info on it, which is why I grabbed it, because wait, there's more. So he sent us a couple different things. The first thing is he sent us a pattern of more globes. So this is another pattern that he has stitched, and this is World Globes by the Vickery collection. And they look like they're from Georgia. So this is a pattern that my husband will most likely stitch up. This is kind of his wheelhouse, geography wheels, globes. So we were super excited to see that, because we can't help ourselves starting yet one more project, as you will see, which I think is just the idea in the stitching community is, some of us are monogamous stitchers, but I think those are even fewer and far between than the male stitchers. But hey, it keeps the little niche community going, doesn't it? When we visited our local LNS today, it's actually repetitive. When we visited our local needlework shop today, I was talking to the shopkeeper. Her name is Cindy, and she's been in the business forever. And as I've started being not only a new stitcher, but also a new designer, she's so helpful in kind of talking shop almost about it. And I was mentioning to her how this is a great community that supports itself on different levels, because you might buy a pattern from some person, but buy the floss from another, the fabric from another. We help with the marketing of stuff of these small businesses by showing off patterns, the enabling aspect of it, but we're doing it for small businesses and small, designing houses. And I think that's amazing. I think that's why everybody feels really good about this is, your buck goes very far in this community, on top of all of the kindnesses that you will see. So speaking of kindnesses, we will, so Gerald sent us that. He also sent us a bit of fabric, color and cotton, and it's a little thing. I'm not sure if I have a plan for it or if my husband will stitch on it, because it is a little small for me. But we've got this little bit to work with. This little, it's actually about the same colors as showing up on screen right now, which is really nice. So beautiful blue, could be good for some smalls. I'll have my husband look at it and see if he has any ideas of what he'd want to use for it. I'm not sure if I'm brave enough to try to stitch on it yet. I'm looking at it. I've talked about it before. I'm very comfortable on 16 count. I'm going to be branching out on 32 count here in a little bit, but it's definitely an even weave and not linen. He's done linen before, and he's very comfortable on 32 count linen. So there's that, which is lovely. And then also extra lovely are some little floss samples. So these are gorgeous and not showing up super great on camera. Well, actually, that's pretty good. So these got 3 different variegated floss skeins here. This one is by XG Design, and does this have a name on this one? This is Little Turtle Gift, or Little Turtle Gift Thread. A very lovely green for some moody seas, perhaps. Back to the referral card. This one is Nina's Silk Threads in the colorway Lost Key. There's a little more purple in there than you can pick up just now, but also a lovely patina on that. That's really gorgeous. So that is ninasthreads.eu if you need to look for Nina. And then the last one is I'm not sure what this one is, but it's still very nice. Another kind of grayish, peachish colorway. Quite a decent little skein there. Just super lovely. So thank you so much, Gerald, for the stitchy kindness. We're going to try to keep passing it on ourselves. Something I felt in this whole Flosstube starting business, business as in stuff to do, not as a business, but is the building up of community and supporting it. And, you know, I am already up to nearly 500 subscribers, and that is ridiculous. And I want to do some kind of giveaway or something when we hit that little milestone. That would be awesome. So I'll let you know once we hit 500. We're really close. Invite your friends. Come over here, like, subscribe. Hello. I'm Lydia, just in case you're tuning back in again, the TallyStitcher. But yeah, so we want to continue and pass on the kindness and kind of keep the movement going. So thank you, Gerald. And yeah, so that kind of wraps into the next bit, which is haul, which is why we postponed this video. And that's because we got some haul. Not like a crazy amount, but we still I wanted to show you guys some stuff. So I'll also talk about this in like the next section, but if you've been following, I've also designed, my second design is of Bach Tower, the singing tower from Bach Tower Gardens in Lake Wales, Florida. And today, the reason I wanted to go to the needle workshop was to see the floss in person, to make sure the colors are cooperating, because what I see in my design program is not always what the colors actually are. I found that out a little bit of the hard way with the Katazan. Nothing horrible, just a couple things that needed to be tweaked. But with Bach Tower, which has more colors to it, and more colors that can't be flubbed, I needed to see, and I saw quite a variation. So I'll actually show you how much changed. So I took my my little sheet, and as you can tell, I swapped almost everything that my computer stitch program spat out, because visually it works just fine. Like, colors look totally fine, but whatever it has assigned a number to thinks it's one thing versus what the actual floss will be. In a perfect world, or in a future world, I'm gonna have one of those floss fold out catalogs that shows at least for DMC, that shows all of the floss colors next to each other with their numbers, because that would make this 10 times faster. Not that I don't like rummaging through every little drawer I can find, because that's also fun. It's also a workout. But that'll make it faster for the things that I need to know. I just need the light version and the dark version of this color as I'm doing more designs, because I'm already on the third design, which is the Annie Pfeiffer Chapel. I'll show you guys that probably next week, when more work is done on it. And I have a whole folder of the upcoming sites that I'm going to do of historic architecture. So went in, the way I have had designed Bok Tower is to have two different ways you could stitch it up. You could stitch it up with all DMC and it's gonna look fine, or you could stitch it up with a mixture of DMC and I've chosen Weeks Dye Works, but of a variegated thread, because I'm trying to recreate marble, because the Bok Tower has two different types of marble and one type of stone that's found in Florida, coquina, and then two types of, like, a pink marble and a gray marble from Georgia. So I need to be able to see these things. So I went in there and I got to touch all the floss, the whole floss wall. There's many floss walls, but I touched one extensively. And that was the Weeks Dye Works section. And so I wanted to identify a couple different tones and shades and stuff. So for the highlight, the light pink stones in the marble, I ended up with Weeks Dye Works Chablis, and that will play very well with the Charlotte's Pink, which is the other type of that marble that's going to go in there. So the main building is just going to be this interplay of these two. Oh, I even love them on camera. Look, they're the same color as me. Look at that. Anyway, so these are lovely. And it's kind of to cut down on making confetti of the pattern, because that's not really what I wanted to do. It's not a photo recreation. It's like an artist rendition of the elevation of the building. I'm the artist. Which means I wanted it to do that thing. So I got those two for the pinks. There's also a gray, like a brownish gray tan that needed two tones to it. So I ended up with oak and cattail. So this one is oak, some variegation in there, and then we've got cattail. So those will interplay together on the tower to add that marbling. This was actually recreates the coquina stone, which is what we find in Florida along the coast. You can find it up in, like, Georgia too, but our forts are still made out of it, okay? So that's that one there. And then the last bottom bit of the tower is this grayish purple marble. So I've got oyster to do the variegation in that, and you'll have streaks of this purple haze to create more marbling. So the main building is like, oh, sorry, I need more hands. The main building ends up being with all of these interplaying. If you go, let me hide my face. Got this. Playing cards. There we go. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. So the main colors in the building are going to be plays off of this, at least in the way that I'm stitching it up for myself for my wall. And I've done all of the cross stitch math. So much math. To figure out how many skeins of this you would need, because these only come in 5-yard skeins versus DMC, which are in 8.5-yard skeins. I used a cross stitch calculator and math and note cards, and I figured it out. But the rest of the tower, it's not stained glass. It's more of like a mosaic tile. There's several of those motifs up at the top bit of the tower. And then there's a big gold door and a teeny tiny red door. Those I kept charted in the DMC. So you have like a fistful of DMC, also for some of the foliage around the base. And so you'll have that. And then the main bit you can either do in DMC, which I match the colors to the best of my ability with the Weeks Dye Works, but I'm really excited to see how this turns out with the Weeks Dye Works. So, and then earlier in the week, I got the haul of the other JP Coats floss. Because someone on Etsy had like all the colors that I needed. All of these beautiful blues and purples and greenies. Right there. So that was my haul. Which means we're going to kind of shift gears and I will show you some of the husband's work of the week. So we do have a segment here on the TallyStitcher channel, which is Husband's Work of the Week. And we've got some of his haul as well as his work. And he had a finish, all sorts of stuff.
Start and a finish.
A start and a finish. He reminded me, a start and a finish. So he has been, like I said, he's been cross-stitching for many years. But he just picked up knitting. And he's been kind of fiddling at it for a couple weeks now. So he started off with some needles. And he's like, all right. He does like a couple rows. And then he puts it away. And then he got like a different set of needles and some new yarn. And then he kind of did this. And then he put it away. And then this week on Tuesday, he's like, okay, I got a set of circular needles and this yarn. And I want to try doing a hat. And I was like, okay, cool. So he started this on Tuesday. Just, you know, mind you, I've never seen him do much more than like this much of something, like the rows. Like he's doing this much. He made a hat. A whole hat. He finished it today, y'all. Oh my gosh, look like Where's Waldo? Look at that. So, he's currently got the cake, so I can't show you the cake that this comes out of. It's attached to your needles. You're fine. We'll show it next time. But he's actually using not like a self-striping thing, but this has a couple different tonal variations in it for different grays. And they happen to do this really nicely, where the ribbing started with this lighter gray, then you get this medium gray, getting into a dark gray, and then in the middle of the cake, it goes through some reds, some moody reds, and then back to gray. Mm-hmm. Is that what it does? Yeah. He's showing me the cake. He's bringing the cake to y'all. Because now that he finished this one, he immediately started a new one. So look at that. So this is actually really nice. So he's doing this cake. He started up another hat, I believe. That might be for my birthday. Since he knitted things so quickly, he'll probably have it done by my birthday. Trying to get some info on the cake.
It's a Yarnspirations Karen Cakes, and the color is red velvet.
There we go. So red velvet, and it just so happens that red velvet's my favorite cake type. So he's making me a red velvet hat, red velvet cake hat. So that's that. So start and finish for the husband, hat. Awesome. Which also means he has been getting a lot of yarn, y'all. A lot of yarn. We're not going to show all the yarn. We're going to show pretty much today's yarn. He's like, it's not that much. And I'm like, it's yarn. It's a lot of yarn. It's fine. So he got these the other day from Hobby Lobby. I'm not sure which day it was, but this is Yarn Bees Natural Slate. It's super soft. This is super squishy. Let's see here. It's hand dyed from Oklahoma. Oh, and this is a superwash merino the whole way through. That's why it's so soft. Ooh. We found one of my kitty cats needing the yarn basket that he found. So can confirm soft. He also got this other one also by Yarn Bee, and this one is Cloudy Indigo. So these are quite lovely. I think he's got plans to do socks out of these. So these are going to be socks that he won't share with me. Probably not. He's going to have the nicest socks in the house. He says he's going to start doing socks because one of our cats keeps stealing his socks. So he has to knit more socks. There she is. Do you hear her? Did you hear her? And then today also our local needle workshop has yarn. She has a good amount of regular yarn, and then she had these little bundles. I think she said she had originally started stocking these for embroidery, which we don't do yet. You know, who knows? But these little guys were ready to go. Look, that one matches the door. So we've got, these don't have numbers. These have numbers, not names. But this lovely dark teal, and then an almost black charcoal. and then kind of a tanny gray, very warm gray, and then this nice mustard. It's dark, it's not as bright as it's showing up on here because my shirt's all wonky donkey. But these are really nice, and he was trying to think maybe socks like this or maybe socks like this, and I said do socks like this. So who knows, but these are going to be socks as well down the line. And he also got a couple more things for projects he doesn't have yet going. Let's see here, because he likes to experiment with different flosses. So he was picking up some of the rest of the Krynic he needed for the next Mirabilia that's coming out, Echo Lakes.
Echo Lake. Yep.
So he's got Echo Lake on order for himself, and so he's got most of the floss for it, and we're just getting the rest of the Krynic. And then these two are his fancy floss that he picked up for funsies. These are this is Dinky Dye, $2.85, Night Sky. Night Sky. That looks really nice on camera. Ooh, and he might be doing something Halloweeny with this. He doesn't know yet, but he has like jack-o'-lantern by them.
That's why Weeks Dye Works.
So he's got jack-o'-lantern by Weeks Dye Works, so he might make something go on.
Kind of Halloweeny looking colors.
And then this is a water lily. Oh, this is the guacamole.
Yeah.
This is a guacamole. This is also for
no, that's for Athena.
This is for Athena. So we'll show you Athena next because she's part of the whips and the shows in the hall. So that's guacamole, and water lily's guacamole. Very nice. I think that's all of us.
There's also a couple other. There's another Karen in there.
Another Karen. Where is she? Sorry for the crinkly bags, y'all. Oh yeah. Okay. And then this is Oasis. So this is another one for the Mirabilia that he's currently working on, which is Athena. You will hear all sorts of noises happening right now because the cats are afoot. So this is the husband's, one of the husband's works in progress. This is his work of the week. This is a Mirabilia, and it is Athena, the goddess Athena. So I'm going to roll it back. Oh yeah, let's cover my face. Oh, sweet. So this is like a huge piece. And it still has another bit to go. My face is going to do this. It's fine. This is totally fine. It's not fine, my cat says. All right. So she continues on like all the way over here. There's 2 columns to her. I didn't even think to grab the card with her stuff on it. We could show you all this information and more. He's looking for it. It's somewhere. Oh, that's fine.
That's all right.
So, do you want to tell them what linen count weighs this?
It's a 32 count vintage country mocha, I think by it's either Zweigart or Weichel. I think it's probably Zweigart. Zweigart has the orange stripe? I don't remember.
There is an orange stripe.
Yeah.
So vintage country mocha, 32 count linen. This is Athena. We do have the bag. Things are getting exciting over here, y'all. And then we have hands. We have kitties. We've got all sorts. So this is Athena. This is what it will look like when it's all done. And he's been working on this for a while. So, and it's turning out beautifully. It's very lovely. But he said some parts are a little fiddly. He really powered through this part of the skirt. The cat is trying to knit. Anyway, my husband really powered through this part of the skirt, but once he started getting to this orange transition, like it's almost confetti, not quite confetti, but he's now back over here to this column, and then he got the knitting bug. So Athena is not currently his monogamous whip because he keeps getting the knitting bug, but that's okay. So that's it for the husband's works of the week. Let me check my little thing here. What do we got? Okay, so I told y'all about designs and plans. So since I finally have the colors Correctamundo for Bach Tower, it's going up in my Etsy shop, y'all. I will do that tomorrow. It'll go live in my Etsy shop. I still don't want to say that there's like a grand opening of the Etsy shop because it's going to be Bach Tower and then the Ka Dazan there's two versions of the Cadezan. You can get the sunset version, which is a more pinky hued blush rose version, or you can get the regular version that you could get here for free. You could go and buy it through my shop, and all of those proceeds go to the Florida Trust for Historic Preservation, which portions of any of my sales will go to that. That's just what I decided to do. But yes, Bach Tower will go live. I know a couple of y'all have messaged me asking about that one, so that's all I had to do, was to make sure the colors were correct for y'all. The package is already ready to upload, and that'll go live tomorrow. Yay! I'm really excited to start stitching that. My fabric for that should be here this week. Hopefully. I'm stitching it on a 25 count storm clouds, cloudy storms, something, Lugana, when it gets here. And then other birthday starts, and I'll do a Flosstube on my birthday next next Saturday, or maybe next Sunday. Maybe you guys want to see some startage before I actually talk about the starts. But I plan on starting a couple things, kind of whatever gifts I get. I think some things have been completely kitted for me. Who knows what we'll find out. So yeah, so that's that part. And that wraps up this week's Flosstube, complete with hands from the husband and kitties and info. I hope you guys have a great second week of March. Feel free to have any kind of birthday cake flavored anything you want in my honor. I love birthday cake flavored things. Red velvet is my favorite, but you can have whatever you need. Yeah, so I'll see y'all next weekend, and thank you again. Bye now.
Well, just another bowl of butterbean, or